Meeting February the 18th at 3:30, our regular meeting. To order, please. I apologize, we're 3 minutes behind schedule. Gave everybody a little bit of a break after the economic development meeting.
What's up, Gerald? What's up, Gerald?
Yes, sir.
All right, Rick?
Yes, sir.
For Jesse.
Roll call, Mr. Hopkins, please.
Dominic, Johnson, Jackson, Lynn, Bowman, Cawthorn, Gage Watts, Middleton, Atkins, Chavez, Smith, Epperson.
Present.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. We will have the invocation by Commissioner Jackson and the pledge by Commissioner Dominic, if everybody will please stand.
All hearts and minds would be at peace as we go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather here this day. Lord, we thank you for life, health, and strength. Lord, we ask you to bless the decisions that we will make and the discussions that will take place here today. Lord, we ask that everything is pleasing and the way that you would have it to be. These and many other blessings we ask. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
All face the flag and repeat after me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I will. Are there any agenda additions? Okay. I do not see any agenda additions. I am going to ask that we have a motion to suspend the rules.
I move.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to suspend the rules to allow
The adoption of, the reading or the adoption of
Special resolution.
resolution.
Upon the information.
May I add both?
Sure. Okay.
If Judge Stone and her representatives from Southern University are here,
Been here.
The resolution of recognition and remembrance to
Everybody will please stand.
Mr. Jesse N. Stone, Jr.
If y'all would come to the podium.
Right here. Down here.
Face this way.
Face this. Face this.
No, ma'am. In front of the podium
in case you have to speak afterwards.
Right, Judge, right behind the microphone.
Whereas it is the desire of the Caddo Parish Commission to give appropriate acknowledgement and recognition to individuals who have rendered invaluable service in its behalf to the citizens of Caddo Parish. And whereas Mr. Jesse N. Stone, Jr., born in Bienville Parish on June 17, 1924, after high school he attended Southern University, moving on as a member of the 1950 first graduating class of the historically black Southern University Law Center. And whereas his passionate dedication to the civil rights movement and his affiliation with the NAACP, as well as the Congress of Racial Equity, served Shreveport well. Mr. Stone was an active member in the desegregation of Caddo Parish Public Schools during the 1960s. And whereas Mr. Stone, for many years, the only black attorney in Shreveport, rose to state prominence during the administration of Governor John McKeithen, having filled the position of Associate Director of the Louisiana Commission on Human Relations, Rights, and Responsibilities, and as the Assistant State Superintendent of Education under Bill Dodd. And whereas, later serving as Dean of his alma mater, the Southern University Law Center, he then was appointed Associate Justice of the Louisiana Supreme Court, serving 1972 to 1974. Upon returning to the Southern University system, where he served as its fourth president, a position he held until 1985. In 1986, he served as a law professor but retired shortly thereafter, staying involved as a member of the Southern Board of Supervisors from 1991 to 1995. Mr. Stone served his university, his community, and his family with full vigor and love at all times. Now therefore be it resolved that the Caddo Parish Commission meeting in legal regular session convened this day, it does hereby convey its deepest and most sincere expressions of gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Jesse Stone for the invaluable contributions he made during many years of selfless service to his parish, and particularly for his dedicated service to the Southern University system. Signed, all Caddo Parish Commissioners.
I'm truly humbled by this, this proclamation. And from the depths of my heart, I just want to thank each and every one of you for the foresight and the remembrance of my father. Many people know him or knew him as Dr. Stone or President Stone or Prez or even Associate Justice, but you have to remember I still just knew him as Dad. So I really want to thank you, and I do want to introduce to you, maybe not, Dr. Leon Tarver, who is chairman of the Southern University Board of Supervisors, for comment. But again, this truly touches me. My mother certainly appreciates it, and again, thank you.
And I too, on behalf of Southern University and this community, would like to thank you for that commemoration. I was a young guy under him when she was just a little girl, and so I knew very well what he meant to this community. And when I look at you here, I'm very mindful of our history, what we come. So thank you. He would have loved this moment.
And I'd also like to introduce the interim chancellor of the Southern University Law Center, Mr. John Pierre.
Thank you, Judge Stone. Mr. President, Vice President, and members, parliamentarians, the members of this commission, I want to thank you for honoring Dr. Jesse Ann Stone, who was an extraordinary man, a transformational leader, and we are all blessed today because of his leadership. And the Southern University Law Center extends this thanks to you. We say that we create lawyer leaders. Jesse Ann Stone was the first lawyer leader from the Southern University Law Center. Thank you.
There are several people on the board that would like to comment on this and congratulate you, I believe. Commissioner Jackson.
Well, and we're going to be brief. We're going to be brief because we understand that you guys have to get across the street for an event, and the reason that Chairman Tarver and Dr. Pierre are here is because of the event and the dedication to Judge Stone, Mr. Stone, for his contribution, and they're going to be unveiling a bust, I believe, in his name and in his honor. But I just want to say, if the idiom is true, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I don't know the tree, but I either know the apple or the branch, whichever one you want to consider yourself. And I tell folks all the time, I had an opportunity to sit in your courtroom when I worked for a little while in Caddo schools, and that was truly a moment that I will never forget. That being the first time I entered into the juvenile courthouse as a teacher, having to testify against a student, and saw how justice is temperament with mercy, because you could have sent that individual off because they were on a couple of chances at that point. And later on, running into that student at a grocery store, and he let me know that, you know, he's doing right. He doesn't have the job that he wants, but he's not in the place that he could have been had he kept on down that path. And so it shows that the reforms that have been implemented, Clay, with juvenile justice and things like that, are working in our community. I also want to recognize Dr. Pierre and Dr. Tarver that I understand that you're doing a study to bring a law center here to our region and to our area. And I want to just convey our full support, at least mine. I'm only one of 12, but convey my full support for that study. We lose a lot of intellectual capital and human capital. If you look back at the Eva Klein report for higher education for this region, it indicates that we lack having professional degree offerings here. And if you look at the program at LSUS with the EDD, they have a waiting list now. And so if you want a litmus test of what we need here, that's an example. With the waiting list, you can hardly get in at this point. It's competitive at this point. And so hopefully we can become creative and innovative to see how, I know it's a state institution, but how we can either partner in that endeavor or just be a part of it. I think it's something that the region needs. The closest law school north is Little Rock. The closest one west is in Dallas. And I don't know how far east you have to go to get a law degree. And then, of course, south, you have the mighty Southern University Law Center with all others down there. And so it's a void in this region, and glad you're looking at this area, and if anything that we can do that you can think of that we can do, please let us know. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, this is very special, especially this is Black History Month. And, you know, I try to look at Black history 365 days out of the year. And last week, I saw a picture that was on Facebook. It was a very historical picture that I know a lot of you don't know half of the people that was on it. And Judge Stone, your father, was on there, as long as Dr. Leon Tarver. He was there, and there was a meeting here in Shreveport. And they took a picture of it. This is the kind of information that you don't get taught in Caddo Parish schools. And this is stuff that should be brought up in Caddo Parish schools so that they will know who Jesse Stone is. Because there's a lot of people in Caddo Parish that can tell you who Jesse Stone is and the impact that he's done for Caddo Parish. So today is a very special day, and I hope once you leave here and you go across the street, it gets even bigger and brighter for you. And Judge Stone, I know your father is looking down on you and smiling because you have done everything that he would hope for you to do. Thank you.
Commissioner Dominic.
Just, Judge Stone, I just wanted to echo some of the sentiments. I've had the opportunity, I guess, stand and sit in your courtroom since I'm a lawyer, and I think you're doing an outstanding job. I wanted to wish you the best of luck in your upcoming endeavor, and to say some of the same stuff, you know, that we hear all the great things about your father, that he was a great leader during that time, and you're just standing up and doing the same thing for our local community. So I thank each and every one of y'all for being here and coming out, and it's our honor to honor him today.
Commissioner Bowman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, just want to echo the sentiments that my colleagues have offered, and also to say, you know, that you will know a tree by the fruit that it bears, and definitely what your father has done, Dr. Stone, is resonating and illuminates through you and your hard work and what you do, even for the parish and day-to-day on side projects as well. And it's just an honor to see you, Mr. Tarver, as well, and I welcome you to Shreveport. And this is the day the Lord has made, so you should rejoice. This is not only something special for you, but as Commissioner Johnson said, it's something special for the community and this parish. So it's good that we do this. So I'm honored just to be in your presence.
Commissioner Cawthorn.
Very briefly, I want to congratulate the Stone family, Judge Stone. When we talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, your dad was definitely a giant. And if you're an African American in this community and ever served in any political capacity, civic capacity, Jesse Stone was the first person that I ever known that if you were from Shreveport and you went somewhere else, they knew who Jesse Stone was. And so we know that there are great things headed for you, Judge Stone, and you hope that you follow in your father's footsteps and continue to be the beacon of light that he was for this local community. Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson.
Mr. Johnson brought to mind when he mentioned the icons on Facebook that some of my younger colleagues and persons in the audience may not be familiar with. I noticed he didn't mention my name, but anyway, it brings back...
That's an oversight.
It brings back to memory to some of you that may not know that in my day, we had one television in our community. And when there was a black person that was going to be on it, and traditionally it was Sammy Davis Jr. on the Ed Sullivan Show, everybody from the community would come over to watch it. That's the way it was with Attorney Stone when I was coming up. I remember that red brick building on Mile. That's where that law office was. Anytime something happened bad in the community, they say, we're going to go to Attorney Stone. He'll fix it. Just like they say about Sheriff. He's a bad, shut your mouth.
Thank you. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations, Judge Stone, on receiving this resolution from us on today. It is well deserving, and I just want to say thank you for sharing a little piece of our history with us. It is important every day for us to know our history, not just Black history, but all history. So thank you for coming today, and congratulations.
Commissioner Middleton.
I'd also like to extend my congratulations, and I think Judge Stone, right after a couple weeks ago, I got sworn into the FOP. I think you followed me, so a fellow FOP member. So thank you for all you do, and the Stone family has done, and you've been a great judge over the juvenile court, and I hope best for you on your endeavors too.
Judge Stone, and working with you in juvenile court, and I feel I've been able to see how pure your heart is in working with the youth, and we are certainly blessed to have you in there. And obviously, you're a chip off the block, and thank you everything for you do, and thank you for everything that your father did, and that's everybody on the board. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Move on to citizens' comments.
Did we want the other resolution? We had a second
You got one
resolution.
more. Oh, pardon me.
Proclamation of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. Please stand.
So moved.
Second.
I'd like to ask Mr. Toby Matthew if he would come toward the costume. Shannon, if you'd like, you can come forward to take the photos. Thanks, Commissioner. Ready, Mr. Clerk?
All righty. Whereas although American involvement in the conflict of Vietnam spanned several decades and presidencies, the ground offensive officially began in March of 1965 with the deployment of 2,500 Marines. By Christmas of that year, nearly 200,000 American troops were in the country. And whereas though long and controversial in nature, this war in many ways defined an entire generation of Americans, and numerous brave men and women served during the conflict. During the Vietnam War, over 106,000 of Louisiana's sons and daughters served in the military. Many thousands received the United States, many of the Louisianans in uniform, served with distinction, and 882 of them died in combat. 5 Louisiana residents, the United States' highest military honor, the Medal of Honor for meritorious action in Vietnam, Army Private First Class Milton A. Lee of Shreveport was one of the 5. And whereas by the official end of the Vietnam War in April of 1975, nearly 3 million American servicemen and women had been on the ground, in the air, on the rivers, and at sea within Vietnam's borders serving in some capacity. At least 58,000 paid the ultimate sacrifice during this conflict and painful period. And whereas of the 7.3 million Vietnam veterans, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs estimates that roughly 21,766 live in Caddo Parish, Louisiana. In the half-century since the official beginning of the Vietnam War, our nation has grappled with the sensitive effects of this struggle, which accompanies all wars. Yet we remain thankful to those who fought in the conflict and honor the legacy of the service they built. And whereas the freedoms and liberties we are blessed to enjoy are in direct result of the courage, devotion, and sacrifice of the members of our armed forces, we are grateful for their brave service and draw inspiration and pride from all that they are. Now therefore be it resolved, the Caddo Parish Commission meeting in legal and regular session this 18th day of February, proclaim March 1st, 2016 through March 31st, 2016 as a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War in Caddo Parish, and do commend this observance to all our citizens. Signed, Matthew Lynn, President, Stephen Jackson, Vice President, Kenneth R. Epperson, Veterans Chairman.
present this proclamation to Mr. Toby Matthew, the Director of the Overton Brooks VA Medical Center in Caddo Parish. You all may be seated, please. Just like to state that President Obama in 2013 did an executive order that until the year of 2025, annually we will recognize the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. The historical perspective that Overton Brooks Medical Center has in reference to what we are doing today, the Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary McDonald out of Washington, D.C. also stated that he wanted the medical centers and various veterans organizations to recognize this anniversary each year also. At this time, I'd like to present to you Mr. Toby Matthew, the Director of the Overton Brooks Medical Center.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Administrator, Commissioners of the Caddo Commission. On behalf of the Vietnam Veterans and Overton Brooks VA Medical Center, it is an honor to be here today and accept this proclamation. I especially want to thank Commissioner Epperson and the Caddo Commission for their support and dedication to all veterans. The 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War is a milestone in our nation that we will never forget. Across the nation, Americans are uniting in community to thank and honor Vietnam veterans and their families for their service and sacrifice. United States involvement in Vietnam started slowly with an initial deployment of advisors in early 1950s, grew incrementally through the early 1960s, and expanded with the deployment of full combat units in July of 1965. The last United States personnel were evacuated from Vietnam in April of 1975. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, 9 million Americans served during the Vietnam War period, and approximately 7.2 million are living as of December of 2014. Again, it is an honor to accept this proclamation on behalf of Vietnam veterans and the over 1,500 dedicated employees of the Overton Brooks VA Medical Center. And in recognition, I would like to present to the Commission, and we have a copy for all the Commissioners, right off the press, the 16-page Veterans Guide booklet of Overton Brooks and the service that we provide, not only in the state of Louisiana, but also in South Arkansas and East Texas. I also would like to recognize Shannon Ulrich, who's passing this out. He is also a United States Marine and my public affairs officer, and we have over 40% of our employees who are also veterans that provide service to the over 37,000 veterans that we serve in South Arkansas, East Texas, and Northwest Louisiana. So I want to thank you again for the opportunity to be here with you. We recently just celebrated a groundbreaking for a brand new parking garage, $8 million project, and I want to thank the Commission and also city and state officials who continue to support veterans in this community and the veterans across our system. So thank you.
Thank you.
We just approve both resolutions by acclamation, is that correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Okay. Next, are we ready to move on,
Yes,
sir?
we are.
Okay. Next, we'll move to citizen comments.
Citizens' comments are limited to 3 minutes, and the first person up is Donna Curtis.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. I'm here today in place of Cassandra Calloway, who usually takes this role, as she is our leader and my partner in crime against litter in Shreveport. Literally, it's a crime, so we are partners in crime doing this. Our next Great American Cleanup, the 26th one, will be April 9th, And many of you on the commission today, I counted about 7 of you that have participated with us at least once over the last 26 years, and we certainly appreciate it. Caddo Parish has been a big supporter of our organization and particularly of our cleanup for the whole 26 years. So we want to thank you, and we want to encourage all of you to encourage your constituents to join us. On April 9th, we will have, that is our citywide cleanup. That's the beginning of it. And we usually have approximately 750 to 800 people reporting to the fairgrounds that day. Over 1,000 people clean up that day. And then through the full 3-month period from the beginning of March to the end of May, we'll probably have over 8,000 or 9,000 people that will have participated as volunteers. So it's a big event for us. We've been recognized nationally for this several times, and we're just proud to be able to present it again this year. One more thing before I leave. In March, you have received an invitation, I think, from the new Lieutenant Governor to participate in the Leaders Against Litter, which will be March. It's that first Friday. You'll all have gotten one, and it will be, all the leaders will come together, and we'd like to thank you and recognize you all for all that you have done for us, and we'll hopefully continue to do so. Do I have any questions? That's great. We're just pleased.
Questions at this time, but thank you, Ms. Curtis.
Thank you. Well, we're just pleased to do it, and thank you for your assistance and your support.
Thank you. Mr. Ken Kreft.
Kenneth Kraft at 157 Archer Avenue, Shreveport, 71105. A Vietnam veteran in whom the Army knew, sent him to New Orleans for a desk job and keep him out of Vietnam. They didn't want to get a whole platoon killed, I guess. I'm here today to kind of throw out a 2 capital project scenario, leaving aside all political leaders, current and previous, bloggers, attorneys, developers, personalities. One project cost about $80 million estimate. The other cost about $180 million. The lower price project proposes to take a 2-lane bridge, one of the most heavily traveled bridges in the state of Louisiana, with a morning rush into Shreveport, backing up on business work days, and an evening rush backing up into Bossier on work days during the week. The other project proposes to go through an open area between 2 existing roads. The former project would greatly relieve traffic congestion. The latter project would save a truck driver, let's say, exiting in inner loop at East Florida Lucas Road about 3 minutes, if completed, to the port. 3 minutes is 180 seconds at a cost of $180 million. If you were a private investor and you were asked to put your money into a project, leaving all the personalities aside, would you be willing to invest in a project that cost $1 million every second that's saved? That's basically 31, 32 extension. So the NLCOG board, I think, meets tomorrow, I believe. Is that correct? I believe it's...
No, I believe it meets on the 29th or 6th.
The following Friday.
Friday. The following Friday, okay. So, Mr. Woody said, Dr. Wilson said yesterday, frequently he's the only one there from this side of the river, and I'm inviting public people to get on board. I think before, with limited funding of the special session ongoing in Baton Rouge, 3132 doesn't beat 511, other than that it's 2,621 higher. But I mean, it really is a good project. In '92 when it was proposed, when Florida Lucas was 2 lanes of 9-foot asphalt, but now it's 5 lanes of 8-inch concrete, 11 feet. So we need to kind of think back and forget where we were in 92 and look where we are in 2016. But if you think about it objectively, I really think a new Jimmy Davis Bridge is more necessary, far more necessary than extending the inner loop. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have no visitors. Next, we adopt the regular session minutes.
Mr. President,
Oh, yes.
I was,
I thought you wanted to talk at communiques. Yes, Commissioner
there's
Johnson.
a citizen that will be coming, she called me. She gets off work about 3:30, and she said before she can even hit downtown, it'll be after 4 o'clock. So I just asked that we'll give her an opportunity to speak if she comes.
I'll be happy to open that up to the floor to amend the bylaws, amend the rules to do so. Yes.
At this time, adopt the regular session minutes from February the 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stormygate Watts, second by Commissioner Bowman to accept the rules. Nobody on the board, let's please vote.
We vote.
Voting on accepting the adopting votes. And that passes.
Next, we move to communiques, committee reports, administration response to information requests from commissioners.
We have one. Good afternoon, President Lynn, Commissioners. We have
Afternoon,
a visitor today, the introduction. Ms. Bernie Howard, would you please come forward? And she's the new director for the Providence House. She's been trying to talk to us for the past few weeks, but we got kind of busy in our meetings, so. Ms. Howard.
Which is a very good thing. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. I am so proud to succeed Simone Hennessy as the new executive director of Providence House. Having been away for 17 years, I'm a native of Shreveport, Louisiana, graduated from Caddo Magnet, earned my bachelor's in microbiology and chemistry from LSU in Baton Rouge, also earned my MPA there. And after working 20 years in corporate America as a banker, serving governmental entities and nonprofits, most recently with JP Morgan Chase, I took off that hat and happily stood in the shoes of Simone Hennessy to take leadership of Providence House. And what I want you to know is we are so grateful at Providence House for what you have done, and we expect that you will continue to be our partner and continue to support the efforts of our homeless community. I am so proud of United Way and the publishment of the Alice report, and I don't know if you all have seen that. And I'll be on at 10 o'clock, KTBS, talking about how Providence House, how we fit into that whole homeless cycle. And so what we do every single day and what we've done for the last 25 years, we support those families who find themselves the working poor. And so what I want to do as the next leadership of Providence House is to make sure that we have the right kinds of conversations around homelessness, and that we all understand that homeless people are not people who just don't want to work, but they are people who work and find themselves not able to make all the ends meet, and that's where we come in. And so I am asking as new leadership that you continue to support us. I want you to expect to see my face, not just for the introduction, but to continue to be a voice in this community, to be a voice and an advocate for those who cannot be a voice for themselves. And I invite you all to, we will no longer be calling it a shelter. I invite you to our house, because that's where the journey begins. So you're welcome to visit the house anytime your calendar permits. We did extend an invitation to you. We rededicated our education center in honor of Simone Hennessy, so it is now the Simone Hennessy Education Center, and we invite you to come and see what your contributions have done over the years, and we want you to be a part of Providence House. Thanks so much for having me, and expect to see me often. Any questions?
Any business cards that you can give?
I do have business cards. I'm a banker, former banker. We always come with cards.
I don't see anybody on the board, however, I do.
I do, President.
Oh, excuse me, go ahead. Commissioner Bowman.
I just want to welcome you, and
Thank you.
you know, certain jobs are jobs, but I know that this takes a lot of care and passion.
does.
Therefore, it's really a ministry.
It is.
And so I applaud you, and I ask God to give you strength.
Thank
and
you.
Continue to keep it being, to be productive and progressive.
Thank you so much.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for returning, excuse me, go ahead. Stormy Gage Watts.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for all that you're doing to make a difference at the Providence House. It is one of my favorite houses to visit.
Good.
And I'll be to see you soon. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's been several years since I've been to Providence House, and I really appreciate everything that you do and the partners that you have developed within Caddo Parish, and I'm grateful that you moved back to Caddo Parish. And if you would, please send us a couple of windows of time, and I know that I would like to return. It's been probably 2 years since I toured Providence House, and I'd very much like to go back. In our economic development meeting earlier today, we brought up homelessness and ways to help the homeless, and visited about 2 different centers that do serve the homeless, and so I know that is a focus of the community and a focus of downtown and a focus of this parish to work with them. So thank you very much for returning.
And I promise I'll send you a window. The window is always open, and we'll always adjust our schedules for any of you and for our community. You are always welcome to the house. And I'll leave my card here, and I have more cards.
All right, give them to Mr. Hopper.
You gonna leave the light on?
The light is always on.
Thank you so much.
Good job. I'll be talking to you. Okay. So that concludes my report for today. Okay. I don't have anything else.
I would. That's everything. Yeah.
Other communiques, committee reports?
Any other committee reports? Anybody else? Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I would ask that Robert Glass, would you come up? There's been some concerns, issues about Caddo Parish's adjudicated property process, and if you would just go through it briefly, how the beginning goes to the end.
All right. First of all of our procedures are on our website. You have to go to the website, and it's very simple little deal. But basically, you fill out an application, $300. Once we get the application, we'll set up a bid date. Once they set up a bid date, they've got a lot of advertising and such timelines to follow. But before the actual bid session it occurs, the applicant is notified by letter of the date of it, and anybody else that wants to bid on the project, they can either contact us, or they can find out by the advertising when the dates occur, or they can actually, there's a site on the website that you can fill in and put in your name in there, and you'll be notified by email or text message, however you want to do it. So that's how they'll find out.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I guess the process of when property is actually put on the adjudicated list, how is that done?
Usually we'll find someone that's interested in it first. That's when they'll get the applications. We find out, we run all of our, has to be a certain length of time. There's a lot of things that we have to do, as far as the parish, and then once we're satisfied it's okay, then we bring it to the commission. The commission votes on it to bring it forward. If it's also adjudicated inside the city of Shreveport, we do the same thing with the city council, and then we move forward. That's what usually takes a pretty long time. We usually allow a month for advertising, a month to get it approved by y'all, and a month for the city council to approve it. That's a pretty long waiting period. Then they'll have the actual bid session. There's no minimum bid. Whoever is the highest bidder gets the property. And if the applicant who had already put up the $300, if they did not get the property, then their $300 will be returned to them, and whoever was successful on the bid will have to pay up that $300.
Okay.
Then the last step is after they've purchased the property and such, the applicant or whoever the top bidder, it's their responsibility to do there are a few more hurdles to go through, that they have to notify the prior property owners in the chain of title. And once we've got an affidavit from them saying that they have done that, then we will actually give them a deed, get Woody to sign it, and we're done.
Okay, so when the applicant pays the $300, fills out the form, do we notify them by letter that it's going to be a bid date and a certain date?
The applicant is notified by letter. Yes, sir. All right.
Twice, right? We get 2 letters, right?
I'm sorry?
We send 2 letters, right?
Well, no, it just depends. I mean, if there's, you know, how many, if the property is not, you know, acquired, then they'll be notified a second time. It just depends, yeah.
Okay. That's it on the adjudicated property. The other one I wanted to talk about is the Great American Cleanup. A lot of times when people look at the Great American Cleanup, they think that it's Shreveport because everything is about the Shreveport neighborhoods and everything, and then it's held at the fairgrounds and all the trash goes there. Last year, I threw out an idea that, you know, as the parish, we have these compactor sites, and that on certain days, we could say that these compactor sites would then accept those hazardous materials, and we'll have the bins available at those sites, and then people that's in the parish can go and do it instead of waiting until the one time a year. I know it affects the Great American Cleanup for the year round, but if we're trying to keep our area clean, we need to do it more than once a year. And this would be something that the parish could lead, along with what Shreveport Green and the city of Shreveport is doing with the Great American Cleanup, that we'll have our part, since we already have the sites, we just have to bring in some additional bins on particular days, and then let the citizens know that, hey, you can then take those hazardous materials to those sites, and then we can collect them and dispose of them as they need to be done. And I think that will go a long way with the citizens and what they're paying for taxes, that they get this additional service.
Can I explain some on that?
Yes, you can.
Okay. That's going to be another matter, but while we're here on this subject, I've been involved with Shreveport Green since its inception, and to let you know that the cost for the hazardous waste deals we do, it's like $20,000 a day. And because they had bring in chemists and folks from Monroe and all to manage that, and it takes up at least this much area over Public Works to do that. So it's just going to be a lot of consideration for that. It's an expensive thing, and they do like 3 or 4 year. They've also contracted with DeSoto Parish to do it down there in Mansfield too. So maybe something we want to contract.
Yeah, I know it's a cost.
And personnel-wise, specialists to collect the chemicals.
Yeah, we deal with hazardous materials while working. So I understand the cost, and there's additional cost. But I just think it is something that we can do as an additional service for the citizens of Caddo Parish, especially in the rural area, so that you can spread those dates out and then help them to get rid of some of this hazardous waste, and it doesn't end up in the ditches and vacant lots and all that stuff, and then we have to end up cleaning it up and doing the same thing anyway.
We'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson.
This is communications and reports, right?
Yes.
Economic Development Committee had a good committee meeting today. Most folks were in attendance. Very good discussion on the Caddo Common Park. Good presentation and feedback on that behalf. And want to encourage anybody who has things that they'd like to bring to the committee. It is open to all members to attend, although we have select members. It's open, and if you have anything that you'd like to bring before the committee, feel free. And look forward to having the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Thank you. Mr. Glass. Give Mr. Glass back up here. I tried to stop you, sir. Thank you. Do we have any updates on the property at Doris and Broadway?
Church. The Spirit Church. Yeah, I mean, we did speak with the city again, and they told us that they felt like it would be demolished by the middle of March. That's on their schedule.
Well, we hope the wind doesn't blow it down by then.
Or their children are walking by and get hit.
There are also some other properties that I'll be emailing you about, some sewage that is leaking underneath the ground, and I'll send that to you.
You'll get them to me?
Yes, sir, I will.
I'll take care of them.
Thank you. Monday, February 29th, I would like to hold a code enforcement property standards meeting at 2 p.m. for all committee members.
When is that?
The new committee.
Monday when?
February 29th, 2 p.m.
Location?
Government Plaza right here. can do it in the back room.
Oh,
Conference room would be suffice. That'll be all. Thank you.
You gonna do it in the back
I
room?
would be
Back
bad.
room?
Back room.
Commissioner Middleton.
Well, mine's going to be simple. I'm on the Animal Services Committee, and we really only had Ms. Peavy to show up the other day, and Reed Ebarb, and Chuck, of course. And we didn't have the meeting because the length of the meeting in front of that went, the work session. So at this point right now, I don't know, I figure if it was 5 months ago, we'd have all kind of committee members out there, and people who want to be on the committee. But since that's been resolved, it may not be such a hot issue right now, but yeah, you do, and you're going to give me the contact information on them, okay? And we'll add those to it. And so committee, at this time, Reed, I only see you and Chuck out there. It may be the same thing, we may postpone. It's hard to do. It's hard to have a team with just you and I on it. But thank y'all.
Thank you, Commissioner Middleton. Is there anybody else? That's everybody on communiques.
Next, we have President's Report.
Yes, I would like to remind everybody that charter review is this year the last chance that we have to vote unless we were to pay for an election, which I hope that is not the case, will be the presidential election, and so the sooner that we move forward on that, the better. If everybody who has a name to submit for the charter review would please submit that to either Commissioner Middleton or Commissioner Johnson, and if one of the two of y'all would please call a meeting sometime soon so that we can hone these names down, and all the names, which there's a total of 6, are submitted to the entire body for us to vote on as an entire body, and then they in turn discuss with Administrator Wilson and Attorney Frazier and myself. Of course, it is an open meeting, and we'll discuss that in the back and hone out any differences that we need to change or changes in the charter that they see fit. That is the end of my report.
When we need those names by? As soon as possible?
As soon as possible, please, as soon as possible. The only 2 people that I have mentioned that I have asked if they would be on there, I did ask Attorney Charles Grubb because he's the most immediate, and I did ask Attorney Danny Malone because the 2 of them had some history, and if there was a historical question to ask, that it would be nice to have one or 2 or both of them in the room during that. They both have agreed to serve on it. However, I'll leave it to the board if they want 1 or 2 or both of them hopefully on the board, whichever. That's the end of my report.
Next, we move to public hearing on ordinances. Ordinance number 5562 of 2016 to amend and reenact section 230 of the Caddo Parish Code of Ordinance to state terms under which commissioners and their dependents may participate in parish group insurance.
Is there anybody here to speak in favor of ordinance 5562 of 2016? Is there anybody here to speak in opposition of ordinance 5562 of 2016? I see no one.
Next, we have ordinance number 5563, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and to authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parish's Caddo tax interest.
Oh, pardon me. I think we're gonna. No, we're not. Okay. Is there anybody here to speak in favor of ordinance 5563 of 2016? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition of ordinance 5563 of 2016? I see no one.
That closes the public hearing on ordinances. We move to ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5562 of 2016.
So moved.
That is moved by Commissioner Dominic, and that is seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Dominic, would you like to speak on this?
This is I'm trying to pull up and look at, this is 5562, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the one, just to give you all a brief history, that been brought up, that would basically say that if the commissioners want to participate in the medical benefits and life insurance, that we will now have to pay 100% of the premiums and other contributions attributable. So you can participate, but you got to pay 100%. It was amended last year to say the opposite. It was supposed to take effect January 1st. So we can still be in, you just got to pay.
But everything?
That's it. I hope everybody votes in favor of this ordinance.
Commissioner Jackson, would you like to speak on your second?
No,
think Dominic, Commissioner Dominic.
Commissioner Johnson.
Okay, first is to legal. Did we ever decide whether this is doable with the affordable health care?
The Affordable Care Act, I think the question that I recall being asked was whether or not the Affordable Care Act required us to offer the insurance, and it does not.
Okay. Secondly, since that's the case also, there again, with my brief history down here as the Caddo Parish Commissioner, whenever there is an issue that affects a lot of people in Caddo Parish or that's dear to their heart, they're here. They're here in numbers, and they got a lot of comments to say. This is something that there's nobody here to speak in behalf of or against. So really, how important is it to citizens of Caddo Parish? This was done, and this is not an additional income, as some people tried to say that the charter says we can't get any type of additional income or benefit out of it. This is dealing with health insurance. And, I wouldn't be one to submit to get it because I already have health insurance, but in the line of work that we do, at least some of us I know, we're out in the community. Then during the flood, I was out in the flood, in the water that's ankle and knee high. Could have got bit by a snake, could have got bit by anything. So, it should be offered if there's available, and really need to poll how many commissioners might even want it or to use it. It could be 2 or 3. So we're basically denying that 2 or 3 the opportunity to have affordable health care. To say to pay this at the full premium price, it's ridiculous. They'll be coming out of their pocket just to help pay the premium. They got a family. This job is not to me, my point of view, it's not a charity job. It's something that I spend time to do. I make sure that when people call me, that I call them back, that, if there's an issue of concern, I'm making sure that I'm directing that issue of concern to the right person. Even if it's not part of Caddo Parish Commission business, if it's part of the City of Shreveport or school board. This is something that we do as a public servant. And as a public servant, though, it doesn't mean that you do without and that you can't accept anything or anything that comes your way that will keep making sure that you do your job 100% and want to do your job 100%. You shouldn't be denied it. And that's just my feel about it. And you vote however you want to, but to me, this is totally different from the other 2 that we talked about. And that health insurance is important to not only the commissioner, but if they got a family, it's also important to that person's family as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Epperson.
You want me to go?
Ms. Bryant, pardon?
I didn't know if you want me to go.
Haley, I don't participate in medical, never have. We never have no opportunity to do so. But I do participate in the life insurance because I do, my district is 118 square miles, about 65% rural, 35% urban. When the tornado hit, I was out there with the people. When the floods hit on Dawson Road, I was out there with the people. Someone has an issue and they live Expressway Acres up there, the drainage ditch problem we had all those years. They tell them about the snakes crawling up out of there into the patio. I was out there and copperheads right by me. Do we pay, now I know I got some of the life insurance. Do I pay full % on that or does the parish pay? I see life insurance is in here also.
You pay currently 100% of those payments.
Okay, so that's why, just want to, let people know, we elected true enough. Now, if your means of whereas you can do everything pro bono, that's your business. But some people actually go above and beyond whatever the cause of our charters require, because we believe in doing the right thing in behalf of our constituents. If there's something that comes up, we should be allowed to participate in it, because there are some risks. You could run into an irate constituent because of the way a vote went
They just don't like
in the grocery store. When we going out, some of these places nice and pristine. I went into places with a complaint and walked through the door. They had dope on the table, they had guns on the table, and stacks of money. Those are some of the things that some of us encounter in our districts. And those are risks. Thank you. Hope you got out of here.
Commissioner Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just think in this matter, and maybe I'm a little biased and I'm not participating in it, but I do think that there should be an option. Sometimes when people place themselves in other person's shoes or in their place, then they'll have a better understanding of trying to look at things, whether it's applicable to them, but more so how it may be applicable to others. Years ago, my mother fought for this one thing, and if she was able to have participated, that would have helped her with her battle with cancer, and that would have helped the family to be able to support and maybe maintain and sustain her living, and not be able to have to wonder and pray and come up with our own money and things of that nature to help keep her alive. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Bowman. Commissioner Middleton.
And Commissioner Bowman, I totally respect what you say and all, but I just have to go back and reflect back on the what the Home Rule Charter says. It says no commissioner shall receive any additional compensation when you're paying for, when the parish is paying towards the insurance, then that's a compensation. Now, I think all this is going to be dealt out in the courts. I think that's why it's in court right now. And so I don't think, much of what we're going to do right now is going to change what the court's going to decide. But to me, a compensation is a compensation if you're paying additional money. Now, again, it's not denying the opportunity for anyone to participate as long as you bear the 100% of the cost.
And it's a 100%.
Yeah, I know,
50%.
and I know that's tough. But then again, are we in this is this a full-time job? I don't think.
No.
Again, the court would have to.
It's not a full-time.
Please, everybody, let's not talk across the table.
And I don't mind him. I don't mind him.
Well, it's
And there's
for
no
Mr.
disrespect.
Hopkins
Okay.
talking. Well, for Mr.
Okay.
Hopkins taking the notes, it's important that
I
only
apologize.
one person speak at the time, and Commissioner Middleton, you have the floor.
I
Okay,
apologize.
and I totally, and again, understand what everyone's saying. I have total respect for that. But I think that's why we're in the situation we're in right now, Caddo District Court, because of the compensation. I don't think this is ever intended to be a full-time body. If it is, I think it's worth a lot more than $22,000 a year. Okay, and so it's not. I think we're just, that's where we're at on it. I think you know how I'm going to vote favorably on this, because I think that's what we're intended to do. Because I think, again, the new 4 commissioners, these are what things we strongly believe, that this is a compensation. And that's why we want to make sure that my fingerprints are not on it, my DNA is not on accepting it, that I am strongly opposing it. And again, if you took this job for the salary and the benefits, you should have read the Home Rule Charter and said, well, that looks like this, and you should have done your own investigating. And so that for that reason right there, I'll have to support what's on the board today. With all respect to the feelings and the needs of each individual, this is not meant to be a full-time job and where you get full-time benefits. You're saying that you're going to get the full-time benefits as a part-time job, but maybe someone that's got a minimum wage job is doing too. And I just think it's the part where the parish commission, or let's put it another way, the taxpayers are paying that part of the commissioner's health insurance. Now, Attorney Frazier, in the event that Commissioner Epperson, the things that he brought up, if we're out on our job, doing our due diligence as commissioners and representing our people, and something happens to us, isn't there a policy that would take care of that? We wouldn't fall back on our personal health insurance for that, would we?
It would. There are things in place that could possibly take care of it, Commissioner Middleton, but of course it would depend on the specifics of each situation.
Right, and I think we can all have an open hearing on that, if whatever's needed to make that happen. And so I think we do have coverage there. The same as a reserve deputy going out and he doesn't make any money at all doing the job. If something happens, as long as he's working on the due diligence and color of the law, then he's going to be protected. And I think it would be the same for us as long as we're doing it. under Title 18 or something of that U.S. code. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Middleton. Commissioner Chavez.
This ordinance is obviously a very controversial issue, but as far as this one on repealing it, that one's easy. It's pretty black and white. We know the home rule charter is that we're not supposed to get it. So this one's easy. We can vote ourselves out of it. However, do we need insurance as a employee, as a person? Absolutely. My employees, any employee in any business, you want healthy employees. To say part-time and full-time, that's still up for debate. I think we should go ahead and repeal this. I'm in favor of getting rid of it so that we can go back to the home rule charter to show we did what we were supposed to do. However, look at the private sector. If you go down to Starbucks, part-time employee at Starbucks can participate in their health care plan where they can pay in, and Starbucks as a whole will subsidize it to make the premium less. Thus, it increases the profits of the entire insurance for all the employees there, and it makes it better. So yes, it'll help us out as a whole if we can contribute in and get health care. However, for this specific situation, obviously we have to go by the home rule charter. We'll go ahead and repeal it, and I'm for repealing it, but there's people here that do need health insurance. I get that. I have it through the VA, and I pay for it personally, but it's not always about me. It's not always about you. It's about the whole, and Caddo Parish needs healthy commissioners. They can go out there and work for them. So I think in the future, we'll just go through it the right way and go to the public and say, would you like healthy employees representing you? I would assume that they would, and I would assume that it would help everybody if they helped pay for it, commissioners and the public, to have healthy representation. So I wanted everybody to know how I felt and how I stood on this, but going forward, when somebody does bring to the home rule charter, would that be a good benefit for commissioners? Sure it would. It'd be a good benefit for any employee to have health care, to take care of themselves, to work harder for whoever they're working for. And in this case, obviously the public. That's how I stand on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Smith.
Commissioner Dominic, do I understand part of this, though, that we as commissioners can have the insurance if we pay the full amount?
My understanding is
That's what I was saying. Now, that's what I want. That's
Yes.
different.
you can have the insurance, but
Yes.
you have to pay the full amount.
That's not a problem.
That's different.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Atkins.
I'm in support of this ordinance. I believe that most people around this horseshoe are in this job because they want to serve. They want to serve their community, and I think most of the people around this horseshoe don't need the benefit of parish assistance in their insurance. And I think it's important that we send a message to the people of Caddo Parish that we're up here to serve the people of Caddo Parish and not to serve ourselves. So I'll be supporting this ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Second time around, Commissioner Johnson.
No, it's Jackson first.
Oh,
He hadn't talked yet.
Commissioner Jackson hadn't? Pardon?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
I know I talk too much. I call for a question. Call for a
We're
question.
voting on the question.
Yes.
Call for the question.
Call for the question.
And that passes.
Now we have ordinance number 5562 to vote on.
Yes. That passes as well.
Next we have ordinance number 5563 of 2016, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorizing the parish administrator designee to sell tax interest.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Jackson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bowman. See no one on the board, please vote. That passes.
We've got two that have not voted.
Oh, pardon me.
Jackson, Mr. Hawthorne.
I vote.
They can do it by a show of hands.
Got it.
Okay, it went through.
Yeah.
Next, we move to zoning ordinance introduction by title. Ordinance number 5564 in regards to zoning case P116, amending the zoning of property located on the north side of Market Street, 3,040 feet east of Roy Road Extension, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RA Residential Agriculture District to B3 Community Business District with site plan approval. Moore and Associates. There will be a public hearing on this zoning case ordinance on March 3rd. There are no other ordinances for introduction. We ratify the work session minutes of February 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watson, seconded by Commissioner Middleton. I see nobody on the board. Please vote. And that passes.
Next, we move to resolutions. Resolution number 7 of 2016, amending the rules and bylaws of Caddo Parish Commission relative to Article 12, Rule 1, travel policy.
So moved. That is moved by Commissioner Epperson. Excuse me, pardon me. Moved by Commissioner Johnson and seconded by Commissioner Jackson, I believe. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to speak on that?
Yes, this is one of the items that was presented right off the bat of this year that went through committee. It's the only one that went through committee. And the committee was actually able to unanimously decide that the modifications or the amended version is something that we should bring to the body as a major compromise of the initial resolution that was proposed. I just wish that everything else had went through committee and been done the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson, did you want to speak on your second?
Appreciate everybody for working on this.
Commissioner Dominic.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to postpone this, please.
You may if you get a second.
Second.
Okay, there's been a secondary motion to postpone made by Commissioner Dominic, seconded by Commissioner Cawthorn.
I think the real reason
You go right ahead. Excuse me. Go ahead.
is it's getting kind of put on here a little bit late. I was a little bit confused because if I remember correctly, it wasn't on our workshop Monday. We really hadn't had a chance to talk about it. I know it went to a committee. I guess the committee met Monday, Tuesday. And we met Tuesday, and I just am now reading it. I read it earlier today, but I hadn't had a chance to fully digest it. But if you look at this, I guess the one question I got, Donna, are you pretty familiar with this?
Yes.
The way I read this, somewhere in here, I think it gives us the ability to go to different meetings and takes out the amount that we are going to the amount issue and allows us to attend different meetings, etc. But the one that I had was, I guess it would be for if we're going to go, if someone's going to go to the Washington Mardi Gras or something, it's going to be completely out unless it got voted on. That's what my question, one of my main questions was. It had to be brought up before the commission.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I just would like for it to maybe lay over until our next meeting so it can come on a workshop and then vote on it at the following Thursday, which is kind of pretty quick.
Is that everything? Commissioner Dominic.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, and again, I guess, that you answered the question for lobbying, it would have to be voted on by this commission.
Commissioner Cawthorn, did you want to speak on your second?
Yeah, I'm in concurrence with Commissioner Dominique. I wanted to digest this just a little bit longer because I did have some questions I wanted to ask legal, so I am in favor of the second.
Commissioner Atkins.
I'm also in support of Commissioner Dominic's proposal. I need to apologize to Commissioner Johnson, who's the chair of that committee. I'm on that committee. I came out of that committee feeling pretty comfortable, but since that time I've gotten a lot of feedback from a number of different sources, some reasonable feedback, and there might be some areas where we could tighten this up a little bit more and improve it a little bit more. So I'm not quite ready to vote it, move forward with a positive vote on it. Thank you.
Commissioner Middleton.
I support comments by Mr. Dominic and Mr. Atkins. I'm ready to go wherever you are.
Commissioner Johnson.
Well, this went through committee Tuesday, and everybody had the opportunity to look at this, because it came out, had to be out on Wednesday, and the changes are there. I mean, it's really self-explanatory. The legal was in the room with us, so we didn't do anything that was outside of legal territory. We want to say that we want to fast track everything. One comment was it go to committee and it dies. Well, committee looked at it, made the modifications, brought it back to the body. Now we want to sit and say, well, let's postpone it some more. Some things we want to postpone, some things we want to fast track. We need to make up our mind which way we want to be. Every commissioner has the responsibility to look at this and see what's on this agenda before we come in here today on a regular session meeting. And if there's questions, then you need to be asking questions to legal, to the administrator, or even send an email out to the commissioners. I guess it's funny to me that this wants to be postponed, but other stuff, when we talk about postponing or let's send it to committee, it's like, no, can't do that. We got to get this done. This is what I campaigned on. Well, you also campaigned on this too. So this is something that you campaigned on, and we went in and collectively as a committee, we said that we can do this. Now, the committee was open to everybody. Everybody knows that. So if you wanted to come to the committee meeting dealing with travel policy, you came. If you couldn't make it and you know that this was important and it was on the agenda, you should have been calling either me or one of the committee members to say, hey, what did y'all decide? And so basically, that's how it rolls. Now, all of a sudden, people didn't look at it and they want to say, well, let's postpone it. That's not a good reason to me. But however the body decides to vote, we'll roll with it. And I just want to make sure that it didn't die in committee and that the committee did talk about it. And we'll never have a policy that 100% will agree upon, because you're still spending money to travel. They don't understand that you can't learn sitting here in Caddo Parish. You can't learn sitting around this horseshoe. The horseshoe education is very limited to whatever shows up on this agenda or whatever person comes to that podium. And if they don't come to that podium and it's not up in this meeting, you're not going to learn about it in Caddo Parish. And there are some people that want Caddo Parish to stay backwards. But my motto is always move Caddo forward. So let's continue to move Caddo forward and vote your hard.
Commissioner Jackson, first time around.
You turn your head.
Commissioner Atkins stole on most of my comments. But I want to make sure that we're clear on this. I never put a time limit on getting this through, so I never intended us to fast track it or slow roll it. I wanted us to address the issue. I want all eyes and ears on it, so whatever we got to do to make it tighter. And I think, I had questions at the committee meeting, and was even conveyed at the committee meeting that we had it as tight, but if folks have some other suggestions that they think we need to do or open to the discussion, I'm open to that. I see no harm or danger in postponing. Attorney Frazier, if we postpone this, it's a one reader, so it just next time
it moves to your next regular session meeting.
And we out after that. Well, I appreciate everybody coming to the committee meeting and giving their input. I think it was good. I think we're moving toward a better policy, and I don't mind postponing for due diligence again. Yes.
To go to Commissioner Bowman first time around. Commissioner Epperson, have you already spoke on this?
No.
You haven't? Okay.
I'll go. I'm sure.
Pardon me. Okay. Yeah. Hold on then. Commissioner Epperson, go ahead, because I know Commissioner Dominic and Commissioner Middleton have spoken.
Call for the question on the motions.
Second.
Thank you.
Which one we voting on?
The question. Call for the question now.
Can I ask for a suspension of the rules?
No,
Allow the public.
you can't debate on call for the question.
Lynn? Mr. Lynn?
Oh, excuse me, that. Well, I don't see, yes, I haven't.
You hadn't voted.
Oh, I haven't, I hit it. Oh, there we go. Excuse me, pardon me, thank you. That passes.
Now we vote on the substitute motion.
Yes.
All right, so the motion, can you,
Can you go
Substitute
ahead and
motion
repeat
is,
it for everybody, please?
substitute motion is to delay until the March 3rd meeting. Is
That's
that
correct.
Okay.
That passes. That will be delayed. Next item, please.
Next, we move to resolution number 8, urging and requesting the United States Congress to support the funding of the Red River sedimentation and hydraulic survey.
So moved.
Second. That is moved by Commissioner Bowman and seconded by the chair. Commissioner Bowman, would you like to speak on that?
No, sir, I think it speaks for itself. We want to make sure we continue to support and get as much funding as we can for the Red River sedimentation and hydraulic study.
Yeah.
And before, as we do anything here and anything out, we would like to have a study, because that's how we get assessments, to know if we'll move forward. But that's all I have to say.
And I want to thank Commissioner Middleton for putting this on the agenda. Thank you very much. And Commissioner Middleton.
Yeah, and I think this is very much needed. Just read the newspapers for the last year, and you can see why it's needed. And also, we do have a request from the port from Mr. England and the captain down there, I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not in our purview to do this, but anyhow, we need to see about getting a gauge for the depth of the river down there, and maybe another one, because the only one we have is right here towards downtown, I believe, on the river bridge, on the railroad bridge. And who really knows what the depth is? Who really knows where the bottom of the river is until all this sediment gets cleared out? But anyhow, I just want to comment on that. Obviously, I'm a little favorable to this.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, this is the main reason why we had flooding in Shreveport and Bossier, is due to this. And so, we need to get the study done so that they can come in and dredge the Red River. Really, this is another step that they put in place to say that needs to be done in order to do the dredging. Talking to the congressmen up in D.C., one thing that they did say is, hey, we've already approved additional money for them to do additional dredging of the rivers in the United States. So this is basically it. If you looked at the letter that came out, there was money allocated for recreational activity on the Red River, but not doing this particular study. And I think we need to refocus and get them to see that, hey, we need the study done before we need to have this additional recreation on the Red River.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Epperson.
That was my comments.
Okay. That is everybody on the board. Let's please vote.
Jackson.
We're just waiting on Commissioner Jackson. That, of course, that passes.
7-0. Next, we have resolution number 9, suspending the effects of Chapter 4 and Chapter 54 of the Caddo Parish Code of Ordinance relative to alcoholic beverages and zoning regarding 2400 East 70th Street.
I'll pass. I move to pass that.
Move by, I'll move it, you can second.
And second by, moved by Commissioner Hawthorne, seconded by the chair.
That's good.
I don't want to speak, and you okay? I don't see anybody on the board. That's good. Let's vote.
Yeah, it's always good.
And that passes.
Resolution number 10, urging and requesting the Louisiana Legislature to oppose any reduced funding relative to University Health, LSU Health, Shreveport School of Medicine, Southern University Shreveport, and Louisiana State University at Shreveport.
So moved. Second.
Passes, moved by Commissioner Jackson and seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Would you like to speak on your motion?
No.
Commissioner Bowman?
No, sir.
I see no one on the board. Please vote. And that, of course, passes. Next item, please.
Next, we move to old business, discuss action relative to Dawson Road project.
Move for remanded to committee.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson.
What committee we recommend?
Yes. I'll figure out
That's
which
your
one to
projects,
move it to.
I assume.
And seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Excuse me, I had it down.
We have the date for
Is that special project, sir?
Yes, sir. Everyone, oh, excuse me, Commissioner Dominic?
Just a new study, I knew that there was a new study going on about a different route or something.
Yes, sir.
like that.
I don't see anybody on the board. Please vote. And that passes.
Next, we move to new business, confirmation of Dr. Woodrow Wilson, Caddo Parish Administrative Service, and LCOG member.
So move.
Moved by.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Middleton. Do you want to speak?
No,
Okay. Commissioner Jackson, do you want to speak?
we spoke enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Middleton, I saw you every
Oh,
newscast.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I'll just reiterate what I said on Tuesday, that I'll be reaching out to members and I'll be reaching out to legal and administration so that we can work on, I think our practices need to line up with what's in writing, and so hopefully we can get some cleanup there, but in the spirit of cooperation, I will support this.
All right, everybody, oh, excuse me, Commissioner Johnson, did you want to speak?
Yes. You know, a reason I put all this in there is to make sure that we understand what the U.S. code was, since somebody was talking about the code and how the parish administrator didn't meet the definition of the law based upon what the code says. So I wanted to make sure that the public had it as part of the public agenda for the ones that are here. Then today, you know, I get this letter in my mailbox and an email about some stipulations that, you know, the president wants to put on Dr. Wilson if he is selected as the chairperson. And I think most of these stipulations are ridiculous. I take offense to the one that you said that the Caddo Parish organization that I have found that most or all commissioners are blissfully ignorant of NLCOG. I think that is bad and poor taste of words to use. You know, it's a lot of information that we do know. I know about NLCOG, and some of these other commissioners know about NLCOG. But if you don't ask the question, then you can't get an answer. And just to say that we're ignorant of it it's very offensive to me that you would put that in this letter. And I don't know who all got a copy of this letter, but I got one and I'm offended by it. To the new commissioners, NLCOG does have a website that you can go to, and it talks what their monthly or bi-monthly agenda is. You can look on that and look at the agenda. You can also look at the minutes. The minutes are there. Ken Rogers has come before this commission numerous times to give us an update on what's going on with NLCOG. So it's not like we're operating in the blind. And the NLCOG meeting is a public meeting. Anybody can go to it. The public can go to it. Any of the commissioners can go to it. So you don't have to just be the chairperson or the person that's representing the commission to go. That's just the only person who can actually vote. But anybody can go to the meeting. If that is concerned about going, go to the meeting, see what they're talking about, all that, and get word for word, whatever. But just to say that some of this stuff that you want to put on here to have the administrator to do if he is selected as the appointee is just ridiculous. I mean, shouldn't even be considered or thought about. And I'll be waiting for an apology, especially about this ignorant part. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson?
I was going to say, my stuff is not going to be, I did get it, but I have not read the letter. But mine will just basically be kind of cleaning up and making sure we're kind of, I still think that if we need to take out that president portion and just make it the administrator. And I don't know if we can do that. I guess we just have to do a resolution urging NLCOG to change their bylaws. And so that's all I'll be asking us to do. And if we're going to basically designate the administrator, we need to go ahead and just do that as opposed, because, and I tell people the analogy all the time, if you put me in a candy store and come back 2 hours later and say, well, I didn't expect you to eat anything or to get anything, I'm going to say, well, you gave me the opportunity to do it. And so let's not create that opportunity, or let's not create these environments. So I want to be clear that I am supporting this. My resolution or my whatever cleanup that I would like us to see us do is just remove that option to have the president on there, and let's designate the administrator. Let's let the commission designate somebody. But let's not give a particular, let's not create an opportunity for, because I think in talking with members, a lot of people say, well, we put it there, but we never expected anybody would take it. And I say, well, if you create that opportunity for them, in this particular case, somebody did. So let's not create those what's his names by ourselves. But I do support this piece going forward, and I think you know it'll be a good piece for us down the line. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
Thank you, sir. I hate to be redundant, but I thought that it would be very advantageous to discuss this letter and email that I also received. I'm glad to know that it's not a personal feeling that I had about it. I too feel offended by the letter, to say that I was ignorant to the fact of the things that goes on the NLCOG board. I also want to say that experience still matters, and he has proven himself to be more than accountable to represent this parish in every way. I'm very confident in knowing that whatever it is that we decide on collectively or bring to him, he's more than willing to handle that. So, of course, I am in support of this, moving forward without any hesitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gage Watts. Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yeah, very briefly, I was taken aback by the letter. I did receive it in the email and the physical copy. I was taken a little aback. Just for the record, I am very knowledgeable of what the NLCOG board does and how it functions, what's its functionality. But I would admonish our president to, as we move forward in the spirit of cooperation, to taper some what's put before the public, whether it's written, electronically, whether it's video. You represent this body. You're the leader of this body. You create the tenor for this body. So I would just admonish you that as we move forward, taper your comments, and let's move forward with a spirit of cooperation and collectiveness. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Cawthorn. Commissioner Atkins.
I'm very supportive of Dr. Wilson taking the role at NLCOG. In the interest of continuous improvement, I know that's something you take seriously. Perhaps we could look at ways to improve the communication between NLCOG and the Commission, just to make sure that we don't run into this this situation in the future. I'm not sure exactly what that process should be, but I would ask that we look into it.
Administrator Wilson.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I too was kind of taken back by the letter, President because NLCOG has, when you go back and research our minutes, NLCOG has appeared before this board frequently to give us updates on the progress of various projects. Going backwards, February 2nd of 2015, January 2nd of 2013, February 2nd of 2012, April the 5th, 2010, May the 7th, 2009, February 2nd, 2009, March 31st, 2008, February 2nd, 2008, November 21st, 2007. If you go back, he's appeared all those times to talk to us about the progress of the various things going on at NLCOG. So we have not been in the darkness, and if the commission desired to receive the agendas in a monthly meeting, I would be glad to send it to you. It's about 40 pages or so, and I would certainly welcome you to, if you want to read additional stuff, go right ahead. I don't have a problem with that. But certainly, I just don't think we're in the dark at all with respect to the projects we're working on, because the man appeared before us and talked to us about it, and anybody could ask a question. And I noticed that the comments in the minutes, no one asked questions about 3132, I-49, progress I-49, but he briefed that. So we are not lacking anything. And I just want to make that clear for the record.
Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Middleton.
Thank you. I thought we'd cross this junk for Tuesday.
I did.
Let's continue to take the word "I" out of team.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson.
I had a question for, I guess, the administrator. You don't mind if we ask, can Kent come over and you just contact them, kind of like how we
Yes, sir.
put that in the press and put that in your administrator report?
Yes, sir. Under communiques, any commissioner desire any information, any question, and I can have Mr. Rogers come here once a month, once a quarter, once every 6 months,
Okay.
whatever the desire of this board, to update. And certainly, I'm prepared to answer questions too, but the relevancy of the project that we are dealing with. So, but that's what communication's for, to talk to each other. So we wouldn't have to speculate or backbite.
Thank you. My letter only went to the commission body, and of course I gave it to Administrator Wilson first, and I would like to say that it was certainly not intended to offend anybody, and the only intention was to bring awareness to the fact that, according to Administrator Wilson, in the past we have received one update a year, minus 1 year where we received it twice, and 1 year, 2014, where we did not receive it at all, if I heard correctly. And for all of the stuff that NLCOG does, and because of the fact that this commission body is responsible, at least that we are responsible to our citizens for what happens there, I would like more information from NLCOG on a regular basis, more so than Kent Rogers coming before the board and speaking. Honestly, when he speaks, I have a very difficult time understanding what he says. And I understand what you say, but I have a very difficult time understanding what Kent Rogers says. And so to hear it from Administrator Wilson, it transfers much easier than it does from Kent Rogers.
Don't have a problem with that, sir.
Commissioner Bowman.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to, I see your perspective and what you're saying, and maybe that's something, like Commissioner Jackson said, we can look at and fine tuning, since we already get the information, and there are a lot of times representatives do come and we don't ask questions, maybe we can look at doing quarterly versus one time a year. And that way we should always be abreast of what's going on in depth.
Whenever the pleasure of the board, we can deliver.
Commissioner Dominic. Excuse me, are you finished? Commissioner Dominic.
Yeah, I would say I was even taken back about the letter. I thought that, as you said, Commissioner Middleton, we had put this dead to rest on Tuesday when we met. Dr. Wilson, I think again, you think you're doing a good job over there. Keep working. I would just, Commissioner Lynn, I would strongly encourage you to meet with and talk with Dr. Wilson like I do or did when I was president. And if there are things you need, then get them. I mean, a lot of times when there's stuff that I need from Robert Glass, and I don't sit up here and bring him up here and ask him 20 million questions and spend all these other 12 commissioners' time on things when I can pick up the phone and call him ahead of time or meet with him 30 minutes before the meeting. I'm not saying that any of that stuff, because I know all the NLCOG stuff is very important, but I would just encourage y'all to work together. Let's put this stuff behind us. Let's get our public relationships with the media and people out there, the citizens, in a better light. We can do a lot better job. We don't need this out here in the public. And let's work together. I know that we don't always agree. I know, and I'll say it again, I know that we don't always agree, but there was 11-1 vote the other day that was pretty convincing that says that we think that Dr. Wilson needs to serve on the administrator. Amen. I say this about Commissioner Epperson. We don't always agree. But at least when we come back here the next time, he shakes my hand and we can get along and move on down the road the best we can. So that's what we need to do on this issue. let's, and I would just again encourage you to work with Dr. Wilson. If there's stuff that, that needs to be addressed, come to some of us and let's talk about it before it gets out here open in the public, that it's a very, very sensitive matter, because that's what it turned out to be. And that's all I got to say, other than I'm ready to vote for you, Dr. Wilson.
Okay, we would have to suspend the rules to allow Commissioner Middleton to speak for the third time. So move. Okay. Commissioner Jackson makes the motion, Commissioner Bowman did the second, and guess that passes by acclamation. Commissioner Middleton, go
I'm
ahead.
still learning. Call for the vote as it's written today.
Call for the question.
Thank you.
You got it, you get it.
Call for the question.
We got you.
What are we voting on, Mr. President?
Question, call for the question.
Since Mr. Dominic said them good things about me, I'm gonna tell him don't sit on that tack.
Now we can vote on the issue. And that passes.
Next, confirm Mr. Ronnie Festivan to fill the unexpired term.
Second.
Anyone wishes to speak on that, please vote.
Who was the second, Mr. President?
It was made by Commissioner Dominic and seconded by Commissioner Bowman. Thank you. And that passes. Meeting adjourned.
No.
What?
Animal
Excuse-
Services
well, hold on,
Committee.
animal-
Need to see if the lady is here.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize if everybody. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please come up and speak. There's a lady. Yeah. Well, it's over. But if we could please offer her the courtesy of staying and speak.
Good evening. My name is Daphne Lachey. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm a bus driver, so kind of threw me a little late. But I'm a registered voter, and I live in District 12, and my church is in District 2. And I'm here to, my church, Apostolic Worship Center, applied for some adjudicated property. And we did get notification when they was doing the bidding on that property. But we did get a check back, and when I called and was inquiring when was the bidding session was going to be, I was informed that it had already been before we had gotten a check back, and we had been looking in the mailbox for about 4 months. The application was placed in August, on the 25th of August. And I was told by Michelle when I went in to apply, how would they notify us? And I was told that we were to be notified by mail. I went in again when I asked again, how was we to be notified? And I was told that we are to be notified by mail. But Michelle told me that, that they had sent us something in the mail, in which we didn't get. We had also applied with the city, in which we had got a letter from them in the mail with our address on it. And we received a check back from the parish. But I'm here to ask that maybe there's another way that they could do for notifying people. I don't know how many people that may have applied for property, made application for the property, didn't get notification. They charge a $300 fee. Maybe they could charge $310 where we'll pay for it to get certified mail, and then that way that they would know whether or not we had gotten the mail from the certified mail. And I also want to know, can something be done? Because I was told this is the application that they give us. And I read this application front and back. I was told by Michelle that they mail out to us, that we could go on the website and check. And I told her that if I knew that we could go on the website and check, which they don't have that information on here, don't have a website or anything, that I would have been going online every day trying to check. And I also was told, which is the information is here, about the Caddo Citizen, that notification before the meeting would be 30 days or 7 days. By me not getting a letter then I was thinking that they just hadn't gotten to this property yet, or I would have been trying to check with the Caddo Citizen, which they don't have any boxes around here in this area. Caddo Citizen is way in Vivian, so, you know, I guess I'll have to take a trip down to Vivian to try to get a Caddo Citizen, and I don't have that kind of money and gas to go down there every week trying to get a Caddo Citizen and see whether or not they advertise this information in that paper. So I'm here to find out, is there something that can be done that, with the church being the applicant of this property, that she told me that they had to sell 2 times, and the first time there wasn't a representative, the second time someone had already have the property. And in talking to a couple of people about this situation, I was told that they had applied for adjudicated property and didn't get any notification also.
Okay, your time has been extended. Okay. May I have your name and address?
My name is Daphne Lachey.
Thank you.
Address is P.O. Box 19313, Shreveport, Louisiana 71149-0313.
Thank you so much. One thing that we can do right now, if you like, Mr. Glass is in the back. Mr. Whittington, who's in charge of adjudicated property, I do not see in the building, and so we could actually just meet with
Carolyn's back there, if she can talk.
Carolyn's back there, okay, and we can meet with Carolyn right now and see what we can do to assist you further.
Okay.
If you would like to do that.
Yes, I would.
Okay, and Commissioner
Thank you
Jackson,
so much.
Normally this time we don't do answering questions, but I think we've actually adjourned, and so.
Okay.
But we'll be happy to work with you, and I think we're finished, and so I'll come around and help you out.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
All right. And Carolyn is where?
In the pink and green.
Carolyn. Okay.
Animal Services meeting?